when you come up to present your application, you will present it to the board. After that time, you'll have a seat. Anyone for or against the application will have the right to come up and speak again to the board. After which the applicant can come up and address any of those concerns that may have been stated during that time. Mr. Harden is the chairman of the board. He'll be in charge of the meeting tonight. With that, Mr. Harden.
Thanks, Valerie. We call the meeting to order. First order of business will be the minutes of the June 24, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion to accept the minutes as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstention? R.J. Knox, the new guy. Okay. Folks, raise your hand if you can't hear us, okay? We want everybody to hear, but it's pitiful. You can't hear us? We'll talk louder then. And if we still can't hear you, let me know if you can't hear.
I can hear you, but you're all over the room. Everywhere. Which makes it slur.
Thank you, sir. All right, we have 3 applications this evening. There's a public section of the meeting where we discuss the application. Whoever is the applicant representative comes up and tells us a story. Then we ask you a few questions. Then we ask for anybody who wants to speak for the application or against the application. At that point, the public section is closed, and the board will then address the application. All commentary will be directed towards the board. No commentary from the church pews. Everything has to come through this microphone to the board. First thing is application 154. It's a lot split and rezoning of a parent tract of 41.27 more or less acres with the zoning designation of agriculture into a 12-acre tract to obtain residential rural zoning and the rest to remain agriculture. Submitted by Kevin Anderson on behalf of Michael S. and Georgia D. Johnson, who are requesting the zoning actions that are described above on the tract of land located in part of the southeast quarter of Section 12, Township 44, Range 32, in the south half of the southwest quarter of Section 7, Township 44, Range 31, Cass County, Missouri. A lot of people know this is 27323 South State Road, DD, Harrisonville, Missouri. Kevin, please come forward. Oh, you're already there. I haven't seen you. How you been?
I haven't changed a bit, have I?
Not at all. What's the story tonight, sir?
This is a 42-acre tract. The front part of it has been used as a sod farm, rented to Elks for a sod farm for many, many years. Elks want to buy the sod farm area off the front, which is 12 acres roughly. And so that's the reason we're here for this lot split. There would be no change in use, no change in access. We've sent out notices, have not heard anything from anybody against it, or for it for that matter. It's a simple lot split. The remaining tract will remain ag, where the Johnson's home is located, and in the front will be proposal is to be zoned RR. So it's really all there is about it. Does anybody have
any questions of Mr. Anderson? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is anyone here who'd like to speak in favor of the application? Please come forward. Is anyone here who'd like to speak against the application or has questions of same? All right, Valerie.
They have.
Whoa, what's that?
What is the application? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We should have it in the room where the seat.
Sir,
I'm
we
going
understand.
to ask you to keep quiet. You can move up here. This is as close as I can get you right here. If you want to move, sir. You all too. This is as close as I can get you. Did you hear nothing of what the gentleman said?
I didn't hear nothing. See here, look here.
Have a seat. Kevin, come back and tell us the story, sir.
As I said, this is a lot split application. Parent tract's 42 acres. The front part of it has been rented to a sod farm for many, many years. The sod farm wants to buy the front part of the property, and so that's the 12 acres that's presently in sod. And so that's the proposal, to rezone that, split that off, rezone that RR, so that the sod farm can purchase that and continue operating their sod business. No change in entrances, no change in use, just the ability to sell it to the operator of the sod farm.
Thank you. All right, Valerie.
They have done everything that's been asked of them to do.
All right, does the board have any questions of Mr. Anderson or Valerie? The chair will accept a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion to approve application 3154 as submitted along with the planning board report.
All right, Lynn has made the motion that we accept application 3154 as presented. Is there a second? Mike with the second. All right, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries 6-0. Kevin, August 13th, third floor at noon. Commissioners, bring it forth.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Okay, application 3155. This is a lot split and rezoning of a parent tract of 20.1 more or less acres with the zoning designation of agriculture into a 10.01 acre tract and the and 10.18 more or less acre tract to obtain residential rural zoning designation. This is submitted by Phillip Craven on behalf of Phillip and Kelli Craven Trust, who are requesting the zoning actions described above on a tract of land located in part of the east half of the southeast quarter of the Section 33 Township 46, Range 32, Cass County, Missouri, commonly known as 20206 South School Road, Raymore, Missouri. Mr. Craven, please come forward. Evening.
Good evening. The subject property is a 20-acre residential tract. We've used it as our residence for the past 11 years. And it's currently demised as two separate tax ID numbers and with legal descriptions that are separate, but they are included on one deed currently. So our objective in the lot split is just to, for a future potential sale, if it's more advantageous to sell it as two separate 10-acre tracts. The majority of the improvements are on the south 10-acre tract. There's one small loafing shed on the north 10-acre tract that does have water and electric, but that's sourced from the south 10 acres and can be terminated from the south 10-acre tract. So no imminent plans to sell, but just want to put ourselves in position to not have to go through this exercise at the time when we do decide to sell. Glad to answer any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Craven? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here who'd like to speak in favor of the application? Is there anyone here who'd like to speak against the application or have questions? Valerie.
I have nothing to add. Mr. Craven's done everything that he's been requested to do.
Okay. Does the board have any questions of Valerie or Mr. Craven at this time? Okay, the chair would accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve application 3155 as submitted along with the submitted planning board report respectively.
Okay, Mike has made the motion that we accept application 3155 as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
Lynn with the second. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries 6-0 in favor. This will be heard by the commissioners on August 13th in third floor at noon. You need to be there to represent your application, sir.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, application 3156. This is the lot split and rezoning of a parent tract of 60.18 more or less acres zoning designation of agriculture into a 5 more or less acre tract to obtain residential rural zoning designation, and the 55.18 more or less acre tract to retain agricultural zoning. This is submitted by Stephen W. and Heidi J. Tanner Trust, who are requesting the zoning actions described above on a tract of land located in part of the northwest quarter of Section 9, Township 45, Range 29, Cass County, Missouri, and commonly known as 39000 East 215th Street, Kingsville. Please come forward, tell us who you are and your story, please.
Hi, my name's Steve Tanner. My wife Heidi and I live on the 60 acres at 39,000 East 215th Street. We've been out there for 4 years. It's currently both a farming operation and our residence. And at the request of our accountant, the suggestion of our accountant, we're doing a lot split to separate out our residence portion, the 5 acres, from the rest of the property. So that's the intent behind the lot split.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Tanner? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, is anyone here like to speak in favor of the application? Please come forward. Anyone like to speak against the application or have questions? Please come forward. Okay, Valerie.
They did everything that they've been asked of, and the 5 acres does surround their current home.
Okay, is there any questions of Valerie or of Mr. Tanner? Chair would take a vote at this time. All in favor? A motion, excuse me.
I'll make a motion to approve 3156 as submitted, along with the planning board report.
Okay, Lynn has made the motion for application 3156 to be approved as submitted. Is there a second? Second. Clay with the second. All in favor, aye. All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. August 13th at noon, 3rd floor. Be there to represent your application. Okay, thank you. I was trying to cut it short. Okay, application 3157, Cass County Amendments, new regulation concerning battery energy storage facilities. Valerie, how do you want to pursue this application?
You have received the essential draft proposal. There are a few things that probably need to be addressed as far as setbacks, between existing residences, property lines, things of that nature. They're left blank within the packet. We can go through those. One thing that I did notice in the beginning of section 1, it says for renewable energy storage. I think this is for renewable or non-renewable storage. That way it could be used either to supplement a power station, or if a solar farm was to come through, or anything along those lines. So I do think that.
You want to change that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so as we go through this, you've got some things that you want to bring to our attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the first one you've identified, and you've got the verbiage that you want in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, take us through the next one and just walk us through the things that you think we need to address, and then we'll come up with our own if we need to.
Okay. Under section 3, there's permitted locations and parcel sizes. C, it's stating that they are prohibited within so many feet of an existing residential dwelling, school, hospital, daycare center, senior living center, or other sensitive land use unless an approved mitigation plan demonstrates that potential impacts that will effectively minimize that. We need to decide what distance we would prefer to see these from any of those types of structures.
And what have you seen in some of the other plans that you've reviewed?
This is
what
kind of a new.
council has indicated?
This is a newer situation. Whenever we did our data center regs, we did address some battery storage because we thought that's primarily what these would be used for. On those, we put that battery storage systems would be 1,000 feet setback from the subject property line itself. But that was pretty much our standard setbacks on everything that had to do with data centers for the noise, the buffers, the sites, things of that nature. So these, from what we have seen, are similar to a Connex container, and they are full of batteries, is what they are. And then they charge up, they stay charged, they're used, they recharge themselves for different purposes. You may even see some of the small scales in relationship to like a manufacturing plant or even maybe a commercial plant. They could potentially use those, but those would be a small scale. You'd have maybe 1, 2, depending on the size of operation, to use in the case of a power outage that they could be utilized. This may be something that eventually will be used for hospitals, cancer centers, dialysis centers, things of that nature. We could see those, but they are broke out in different sizes. So currently, most of our setbacks are 50 feet for structures from property lines, but this would be how close would we want to be able to allow it to a residence or to a daycare or hospital or school, things of that nature. We'd want to take into consider fire separation, maintenance, things of that nature. So that would ultimately be up to the board to discuss. One thing I do want to call out on the large scale batteries, it was put in here that it would be potentially permitted in industrial and commercial zones only with a special use permit. With that verbiage, we may want to think about whether to also maybe permit it on ag. So most of these properties we believe will be leased properties. So once that lease is up or if that use is no longer needed and those batteries are removed, do we want to have different industrial and commercial zoning classifications around the county? Or would we refer it to be ag underlying with a special use of being able to use that? Because once it's industrial, once it's commercial, that's what it is until it's changed again. So if our intent was to put it as, let's say, an industrial property, just for example, and I'm the battery storage company, I have the lease for 20 years, my lease is up, I pull everything out, well, now we've got an industrial property that may be next to a residential area. Would we be okay with that, or would we rather see it stay ag with the option of an SUP?
Will these batteries be recharged on site?
Yeah, so they're usually tied into some type of grid, whether it's a wind, solar, natural gas, the regular power grid, they're tied into that. So it's kind of like a circuit. They stay charged until there's a need for it. So if we lose power here, these continue feeding whatever that end user is. Whether it's a backup for a power plant so it can continue to put power out to his residents into the grid, or if it is to provide for fire suppression systems for maybe a solar farm or maybe a data center, things of those nature. So yeah,
My concern is would they use generators to recharge them and have noise?
not that I've seen, but it doesn't mean that that's not an option. Usually they're tied into the power infrastructure that's already there. It's just so if we lose power here, instead of a generator kicking on, it's pulling power from the batteries.
I think you definitely need it in an SUP regardless of the zoning property.
Okay. Do we want to allow an SUP on ag as well as industrial or commercial? Because right now you could only do an SUP and only on industrial or commercial. So that's a conversation that we need to have.
I think if you leave it, if you make it an SUP, it gives the landowner more flexibility, and it's gonna prevent something.
This allows us some flexibility.
Allows us flexibility as well as the community around it, knowing that that's the only purpose that property is gonna be used for.
I'm talking about large scale right now.
Right, it says permitted in industrial, and then commercial zones for a special.
Special use.
I would think that adjoining property owners would be more comfortable with that versus changing the zone for the property entirely. But then, 1,000 feet's probably a little overkill for something like this.
That's a long way, that's almost a quarter mile.
That's more than a football field.
3 football fields.
So,
But at the same time, it's nice to keep consistency with stuff, but
they don't make it nice.
right. But they could be unsightly,
It could be.
and there could be security issues.
Is that your intent?
Yeah,
It'd be
so,
no closer than 50 feet to the school,
yes,
so they can go further if they want.
Or we can also require
we could, instead of 50, we could do 100, 200, whatever.
for that special use. So
Mhm.
like if we leave it at 50, somebody comes in and wants to do something, and the surrounding areas
Just leave it.
populated or whatever, we could tell them it's gotta be 250 at that time.
So we're gonna have a couple of these to go through. So the first one that I'm hitting on is the distance to any existing structure. That's in 3C. It's just any existing house, school, hospital, daycare, senior living facility, or other sensitive land use. We will get, when we get to section 4, there will be distance from property lines, residential structures, which a permit's already been submitted. And then we also have, from public right-of-way, and then we'll have buffers and things. So we'll have different
Right, but
distances.
regardless of what we put on those, when that application comes to us,
This is gonna be our baseline. So
we-
this is
we
the
can
closest,
require additional footage at that time, if we choose.
if we choose, yeah.
So I'm saying 50, since that's the number you're used to using.
From a, okay, so 50 foot from a,
C3C.
yeah,
Yeah, but that's not very far from the building, like,
that could be almost on a property line.
right.
I understand,
Yeah,
as in residential dwellings.
it could, yeah. So if the house is 25 feet from their side property line, which are permitted, then this could be, if we do 50, it'd be 25 feet from that property line, be 50 feet from the house. Potentially, if that's what we set it at. So this setback will kind of correlate with property lines also, and when we get down into the next section.
What's the standard you're hearing on property lines on letter I, section 4?
There's not really a standard yet, because this is a fairly new concept. So we don't really have a standard to go by.
Nobody's already done this, no other county's already done this.
Not that's set up like Cass. A lot of these are going in on the East Coast and, well, eastern side of the states where there's a lot of not regulated areas that they're throwing them into.
So we're kind of setting the standard.
We kind of are, yeah. The other thing to keep in mind when we're looking at setbacks is minimum parcel size would be 5 acres. That would be zoned industrial or commercial. The minimum acreage that can be zoned agricultural is 20 acres, and then there's put a maximum parcel size of 50 acres.
Well, I mean, we wanna make it 100 feet, it gives a little bit more of a buffer, so when people are looking at this and trying to plan and see if the site is gonna work or not, we know we at least got 100 feet from a structure. But then is there a reason why we couldn't use 100 feet from the property line as well? I mean, we're talking
No,
100 feet. I
there's
mean,
not, yeah.
That's not that far. And, we gotta have access to this place and everything else. And then, when the time comes and an application comes to us, we can look at the surrounding area. If we think it needs to be more of a buffer, we can increase it at that time.
Mhm.
But 100 feet from any existing structure, neighboring structure, that's not that far.
Well, if there's fire and explosion risk, that's
Right.
100 feet probably.
I mean, I think I have the idea of the concept of these things and what they're gonna look like. I would think they're gonna be more, I could see them being more beneficial in, like in town versus out in county, so.
Yeah.
100 foot,
On which one?
on the first one, they come.
C3C?
Yeah, 3C, 100 feet from any kind of structure. And then I would just keep the 100 feet from the property line as well.
Yeah.
Down on
Any
I,
residential
Wide, long, tall, deep?
Width, so how deep it is, so if this is my property here and I wanna put battery storage on it, I'm gonna have a buffer of X, of trees, shrubbery, whatever type of buffer, all the way around this property, so it'd be whatever that distance is to shield it from visual all the way around my 10 acres, 40 acres, whatever it is. That's gonna be what the landscape buffer minimum would be. If they choose to do more, they could do more. But this would be what our minimum would be set at.
Do you remember how wide the front end buffer was on that substation we did? Did they ever, I don't know if there was even a measurement, but, we required a buffer there.
We did not end up requiring a landscape buffer, I don't believe, because they were going to put one in.
I mean, they offered to do it. We didn't require it.
Yeah. And they were gonna do more of an evergreen type tree, so it held needles and everything pretty much
Yeah.
year round.
On that B then, the landscape buffer, would that be the height?
That would be the depth.
The depth of
Mhm.
4B is that blank width or depth of the berm or
So
the
maybe that's
spacing. So, yeah, you got,
50 foot.
you got some property like that, commercial, what would, it's 25, 50, what would work?
I think 25 would be the minimum you'd want to go, but I think with something like this, you probably want 50 foot buffer.
Okay, you guys good with that? Everybody? Let's start somewhere on this.
Yeah.
Okay, next,
Okay, so we're going to section 4D. Facilities must install security fencing of at least whatever X height, in feet. With warning signage, limited access gates, all of their equipment has to be within this fencing.
what's the size of this stuff that you seen?
Most connexes are 8 to 8
Say
foot,
again?
8 foot tall to 8 foot 8 inches tall. There's some high cubes that can reach 10, but that's pretty tall for these types of units.
I think an 8 foot fence is appropriate.
You're seeing mostly examples and stuff?
Most any security fencing we see is typically 8.
Is there a sentence we can put in there that says it exceeds 8 feet, equipment exceeds 8 feet, the zoning board will address it, it's already in there?
Well, I think if it comes to this, we just tell them, like, if we just tell them it's gotta be taller at that.
All right, 8 feet,
Yeah, and if you wanted some verbiage, you could do 8 foot, no shorter than the tallest piece of equipment with a minimum of 8 foot, if you wanted to put something like that in there.
What was the fence that they put on that powerhouse or substation? It's real small, feed animals and everything out of it.
Theirs, I think, was a bit taller than what we typically see.
Oh, just the
Um,
size.
well, the way we run these SUPs and everything, we just need a number in there, but we'll address it at each specific application. So I'm good with 8 feet, everybody good with 8 feet?
I am.
All right, 8 feet,
Okay.
They have to have that design stuff when they come in for that.
Mhm. Yeah. Section 5 addresses fire safety and hazard mitigation, states that they must incorporate fire suppression systems specifically designed for their types of batteries within the units. they have to provide an emergency response plan to the local fire department before the facility operations. They have to work with the local fire departments as well. They have to meet all code requirements, NEC, ANSI, all of that. Warning signage has to be put up. Stormwater management, there's plans, requirements for that. Maintenance and compliance of system testing. There's decommissioning and site restoration requirements that are in here. I mean, it goes on. Those were the main things that we thought that it would be best for the board to address on those. And anything else that you guys see that may stand out, like the one I caught with the renewable energy storage, it should cover renewable and non-renewable.
Yeah. we would include that.
The option of doing on agricultural, so we don't have a bunch of independent kind of spot type zoning of industrial and commercial out in rural areas that it may not necessarily belong later down the road. They have to provide a landscape plan.
Did they talk about how many amp hours these are capable of in voltage?
They come in all shapes and sizes, so it depends on
What is
the individual use. I mean, you figure most of our cell phones have a rechargeable battery in them. When we're hooked to power, it's not pulling from it, it's charged up, we take it, we start using power, so.
What DC does mean?
Yeah, it is.
You could cross it with that.
Yeah, we're even seeing more and more of our residential solar systems that are putting in the battery storage as well. So they're coming in all shapes and sizes. This is more to address the large battery farms is what a lot of people are calling them, where that's, you got a piece of property and that's all that's on it is these backup batteries that are tied into the high voltage power system or into a substation or a power station or solar farm, data centers, but our data centers cover anything that would be tied with that, with battery storage. But typically they're along wherever power is being produced or converted or in the transmission lines that are already in place.
Definitely want 50 feet of green. We have a farm. What else, Valerie?
I don't have anything else. If you guys see anything, want to discuss anything, if anybody has
Do you
any
want us
comments
to-
on it.
Do you want us to, well, first of all, I want to see if these people have something to say. Okay, if any of you four want to come up and comment about this amendment for the battery energy storage facility, please come forward, give us your name, your address, and tell us your thoughts.
If you just sign in there for us, that'd be great.
My name's Edward Stamps. Did you say address?
We'll have you sign in with your name and address,
Okay.
yeah. We'll put the application number on there, that's okay.
Okay. Well, the reason all four of us are here is basically because of me. I'm the one who instigated it. And that was because I've been down here, lived on this farm 40 years, and I've seen a lot of crazy things, but I've never seen anybody post an official notice on a fence post. I mean, stapled to a fence post. The explanation I got probably from you was, well, it's a state law. You have to put two notices in each
Political township, yes.
township. Dayton Township doesn't have anything. We've got a fire station, auxiliary from Garden City, but that hardly qualifies for a meeting place. Anyway, we think it's highly unusual to operate in this manner. Surely you could have, I'm surprised that there aren't more people here, because this should indicate to you the level of announcement that you made. one guy, me, saw the thing, what the hell is that? You know? And these are my neighbors. And we want to know. Is a copy of what you got in your hand available? Can we have one?
There's one on our website, and yes, we can give you a copy of it as well. So if one of these was to go in next door to any of you whatsoever, let's say it was your property and they're your neighbor and you was gonna do this, everyone within 1,000 feet of that property boundary would be notified. So,
The last time I was here in this place at this meeting was that very thing. I sold this man 20 acres and we had a big row over that. I had to cost, whatever, $6, notify everybody around me.
yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. I think I'd really like to have a copy of what you got.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Huh?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And if it was widely advertised, I would expect that you'd have had more people here than this. This really doesn't look good. To you.
So it was also posted in the paper. So state requirement is only that we put it in 2 places in every political township throughout the county. We try and hit post office, things of that nature, but there's some areas, like I said, that there's just nothing there. We do also put it in the paper, and it is also posted on our website, which I know not everyone uses that either. But with this being a county-wide regulation, we have multiple water districts, so it's not like we have one water district that we get sent on everybody's water bill. We're kind of limited on how to get it to everyone. So we do the best that we can. We actually go above and beyond what state law is to try and let everyone know. But like I said, if it was an application that was going on, like there was a piece of property and there was a company here that was looking to do this, then everyone within a certain distance would be notified from that property, letting them know, hey, this is going on in your backyard. You know, this is what it is. This is where you can get more
We
information.
had 3 applications tonight, for example. Each one of those applicants had to notify the folks within 1,000 feet.
Yeah, I was watching them. I did.
So that, there is no effort to hide or keep people from not knowing about what's going on within their area. And this is an amendment, this is something that, as she said, we're trying to put together for our countywide policy. I can't tell you in the 20-some years I've been here, how many of these things we've gone through, dozens. And this is the most people, other than the, what was it?
Data center and
Other
solar.
than the data center, I've had total. But it's not because we're not telling people. People don't give a rat's rear. So they don't show up. Okay? That's what the deal is.
Yeah, I
We're
got
not
you.
trying to hide from you.
Yeah.
I'd like to have you all at every meeting.
What precipitated, since it is an application, do you have someone fishing or?
We have had a couple of people that are fishing, and when something like that starts fishing, we're like, okay, what do we have in place now that provides some type of guidelines, regulation, or something pertaining to what it is that's coming about? And when it came to this, we didn't have anything that specified for this battery energy storage. So we're like, let's get something on the books, some type of guidelines, some type of minimums versus us coming in and saying, here's my application, and we have nothing to say, nope, you have to be this distance from this or this distance for that, or you gotta have this much of a visual site buffer. The noise can't exceed whatever national level or level beyond the property line, to get those guidelines in place to help protect the residents of the county. And as it is right now, we have nothing on the books. So they can come in and say, we want to put it right on the property line. Industrial says you can have a 0 setback. So if you had, for some reason, industrial property right next to you, they could set it right on that property line, and there would be nothing that says that they can't.
So it all starts with you?
I mean, it doesn't necessarily start with me, but yeah, I generally get involved from the beginning, yeah.
I see, yeah. Pardon me. Well, one thing that you should know that precipitated my interest in it, I read the paper. A lot of people don't. Bates County just went through a whole rash of crap over, wind farm. Maybe you're aware of that. Peculiar, according to the paper, had somewhat the same thing. A data center wanted to be up there. Remember, you are aware of that.
Yeah, that's why since those started in counties around us or in areas around us, we also have put regulations in regards to wind, solar, data centers that before that the county didn't have.
Right. Well, good. Because in my estimation, I think a data center, from what I read about them, a couple of them in Arkansas, I would just about as soon have a sewer treatment plant as a data center.
Yeah.
Because of what they do and what they are, and they're noisy, and they're 24/7. They're lit up like a Christmas tree. Down in Garden City where I live, this pump station out there looks, you know, it's lit up for, well, to me, no reason. It's called light pollution. You know,
They're talking about the gun pump station for the pipeline.
Yeah.
yeah. Why do they do that? I have no idea either.
Some type of security regulations federally that they have to do.
Yeah, no doubt. Anyway, that's where we are. We would like to see that. Personally, I'm going to pursue it a bit. I think it needs to be more widely known. And if I can spread that, I will.
Good.
I'm not opposed to just anything, you know, like this, but something this significant, and it looks as though, I use my words, someone's fishing. You know, that usually things like this come up because somebody's after something. I mean, that's human.
Do you have any
nature.
suggestions on better ways to get the notice out other than paper,
Well, you get paid
internet?
the big bucks. I'm looking for you to,
I wish I
think
could
of
get them,
something
but, I mean, we do the paper, we do the townships, we
And
do
as
try
you-
and hit busy intersections at the townships because,
Yeah.
I mean,
and as you point out, sir, people don't care. Just, that's plain and simple. But when it comes in, then they'll raise hell.
and that's what
Then
we
sometimes
try and
it's
do
too
ahead
late.
of time.
And let me just assure you that we care immensely about the fact that you own land in Cass County. That's our first and foremost thing here in this board. And we are here to protect your rights, and we're trying to have policies, procedures, structures in place to help the county grow and protect the existing landowners.
Yeah. Good. Keep it up. My other interest is that I've been in touch with the Conservation Commission. He sent a state botanist out to my place because I have about 6 or 7 acres of real virgin prairie. I was told that 40 years ago when I bought the place. That's why I bought the property. I thought that's cool. Well, the state botanist agrees. Yeah, that really is. She walked through it and counted plants, and, you know, it really is virgin prairie. And it's been my thing. I'm not a hippie, that sort of thing, but I want to see that thing preserved. I would take a real dim view of a crop duster screwing it up, and I wouldn't really care to have a battery outfit next door either. So, yeah, I'm interested in what goes on. And I am one of the few people that still read a paper. And if I cause trouble, that's what I do.
All right, please come forward. Give us your name, tell us your story.
Can we get you to sign in? Sure. Yeah. Okay. Hi.
Evening.
Thanks.
You are,
My name is Pauline Baumgarten. This is my husband Larry. on 337 Street. That I want to touch a little bit on what Ed said about the notification. Were either one of you the one that put that up?
Our inspectors did it.
Okay. Let me add a little bit to that. This is the size, computer paper, this thin. The first time I saw it was on the fence post. It had rained. This was wrinkled up, folded over, and I wondered what that was. In order to see what that was, I had to jump over a ditch in grass this tall, fold it up, and try to read it. To me, that's not due diligence. I'm 77, so I don't understand a lot of this stuff. I can't read plats. I don't know what that means. But I want to tell you a little bit about our place. I bought it in 1978.
Now, we're here to discuss application 3157.
Yes,
Okay? We're not here to talk about notification processes
okay.
or anything like that. If you have some commentary with respect to 3157, let's talk about it. If not, let's move on.
Okay. My property is beautiful. It's peaceful. I live in the country for a reason. And I think the same way that Ed does. I love the wildlife, and I don't want something like this very close. It's beautiful. We have water and wildlife in our front yard all over. Been that way for a long time, very peaceful, very quiet. That's what I want. That's where I want to live. And I don't know whether I'm for or against this, because I don't know enough about it.
So these are just the regulations if one was to come into the county. Let's say they want to come in and be your next door neighbor. These at least place minimum requirements. They will still have to go through a hearing process. They will still have to go through a special use permit. So anyone within 1,000 feet of the boundaries of that property would get notification of the date, the time, the place of all the hearing to speak about that specific application. Right now, we have no
We don't have
ordinances.
anybody doing this.
No.
We're putting the appropriate policies and procedures in place in case it comes along down the road, like we've done the last year with solar, wind, data centers, all that.
Do you know of any, well, you probably aren't far enough into the process to know if there's any danger to wildlife or to us with
So
emissions or anything else?
They have to have fire suppression systems for these units. They have to work with the fire district to make sure that they have a mitigation plan in case something was to go wrong. There is fencing that has to be put in, there's environmental, there's stormwater, they have to do yearly testing. So let's say one was next door to you for some reason and it went through the process and it was passed. Every year they have to test the soils and provide those results so that if there was anything that did happen, it would be caught then, not 20 years from then when their lease is up. If that makes sense.
You know what I hear when I hear you saying this? Chaos in my peaceful backyard. That's what I hear.
If
We haven't, there's nothing.
I'm not saying it's going in your
on
backyard.
backyard.
If
Not
we don't have,
yet.
okay, so
Well,
if we don't
that's
have
what-
this right
That's
now,
what this is all about, is to set the policy and procedures that have to be met by the
Minimum.
applicant. Then the applicant has to put together their whole application. You all are notified if it's in your general vicinity, within 1,000 feet. Then you get to come to the meeting. The people that are doing the project tell us the story, they tell us what all they're doing. Then the people that don't like it or have questions come up and talk about it. So, but there's nothing going on. Everything you're talking about is hypothecation, which I don't deal in hypothecation. I'm trying to get something factual done. That's as blunt as I can be with
so
it.
I can tell you we've had
And as
two,
blunt as I can be, excuse me, as blunt as I can be is I live in peace and I don't want that to change.
Well,
That's as
if
blunt
there's
as
an
I can be.
application in your territory, show up to the meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
will do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What you got, Ed?
Should have thought of this. When are you guys gonna finalize this?
We haven't
Are you gonna do
decided
it
yet.
Huh?
We haven't decided yet.
Haven't decided?
No.
Okay. So you gotta work through some more of this before you finalize.
When you go sit down, I'm gonna ask her what her next steps wants to be. You're ahead of the curve here.
Okay.
All right, Valerie, do you want, to clean up all this, send it to us so we can chew on it? Or are we on a timeline constraint?
We're not really, because we've got the
I
process
mean, I know
started.
you'd like to get it out of your hair, so.
It's ultimately up to the board. If you guys feel what has been presented with those notes, the 100-foot setbacks, the addressing the non-renewable energy as well, the SUP on agriculture, the 50-foot landscape buffer.
Okay, everything we've discussed tonight, let's hear your version of where we are on the
I think
timeline.
we got the minimum set. If something like this ever comes up, we can get into the weeds on it at that time, but at least she has some minimums to start with. And considering it's an SUV, we can postpone that, we can change it however we need to change it based on. what the
Amend it,
application is.
delete it, accrete it.
Right. So rather than asking her to go through and basically add what we put in, I just assume.
All right, Mike, you feel the same way? Lynn, no, RJ? Okay, I'm good with that. You want us to vote on it?
We have to have a vote, whether it's to table it to the
The chair would
August
accept a motion at this time with respect to application 3157.
I make a motion to approve application 3157 as submitted along with the submitted planning board report.
with the
With the
notes.
amendments
The amendments made
tonight.
by the board this evening.
All right, we have a motion to accept 3157 with the amendments as submitted. RJ with the second. Any other questions? All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries 6-0.
So they are a recommending body. This will be heard again by the county commission at a later date. The postings will be put on the paper. It will be put on the commission's agenda site when that date is set for it to be heard again based on what they stated tonight with the setbacks, the fence heights, the buffer depths, all of that was discussed. So it will go out again, it will be posted in the paper, and you can watch the commissioners' agendas as they come out.
Okay, the chair would accept a